Welcome to Prevention Leaders Podcast with Dave Clausen, your source for insights into the world of substance misuse prevention. Each episode, Dave brings you the latest strategies, expert discussions, and real-life success stories designed to empower your work and inspire impactful change. Whether you're a prevention professional, community advocate, or simply passionate about making a difference, this podcast will keep you informed and motivated. Get ready to lead with a confidence that drives lasting results. Let's lead the change together.
All right, folks, we're back. We're back with my friend Cynthia. Cynthia, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks so much, Dave.
We've connected, gosh, it's been several years now that we've connected just in the virtual space, and we almost got to connect in person, but just missed each other maybe by an hour max. It's always a delight to chat and connect. But I'm hoping you could first kind of give us a nice little overview about kind of who you are and what you do.
Sure, Dave. Thank you so much. Yeah, so let's see who I am and what do I do. So my name is Cynthia Conigliaro, and I've been in the health and wellness space for probably about 20 years now. And I have been a health and wellness coach for quite a while as well. My background is social work, so I have my MSW. And I also work for a wellness consulting firm called Organizational Wellness and Learning Systems. The acronym is OWLS. It's a big mouthful there. So I'm basically someone who is very focused on wellness. When I say wellness, I'm talking about physical as well as emotional wellness. So when I work with my clients, I'm focusing on a variety of subjects and topics and issues. I also do a lot of presentations and trainings on topics such as mindset, on substance abuse prevention, healthy eating, sleep strategies, menopause, leadership, team building, you name it. So I do quite a few presentations for companies, organizations, school hospitals, and groups all over the country. Here today, I love listening to this podcast. I've learned so much from Dave and was thrilled when he asked me to join.
Marvelous. And we could unpack that background and that bio quite a bit, but that might be a little bit longer than what we've got planned for today. So much wisdom, so much experience. And yes, I just always love sort of unpacking and learning more and more about what has shaped and helped somebody grow into the person that they are. And particularly because I've been reflecting on my own, I don't know if it's an origin story or the making of Dave as he is today's story, which has been fun. And as I've been working with the trauma-informed story coach, a couple of the things that have really come to mind, like have been really apparent in my story that I kind of was hoping that we could unpack together would be mindset. In that I've seen how my mindset was shaped as a child growing up playing sports, and then how that was strengthened or reinforced when I joined the military, and then how my mindset shifted when I was in active addiction in my darkest days with PTSD and all that. But then several key turning points where I really leveraged the power of mindset. And I know that is sort of one of your big focus areas. You really help folks with mindset resets, mindset shifts, and really unlocking their success through mindset. So what do you say we dig into that today?
Sounds great.
Hey, awesome. I'm hoping to learn some today. But let's set that first foundation, that context. How do you view mindset? Like, what is it?
Geez, it's a question I probably could try and answer for quite a long time. And I love the fact, Dave, that you just kind of described how different parts of your life have helped you, your mindset and how it's changed. Because I think so many people don't actually think about mindset, this concept of mindset. And, I do presentations on this. I talk with my clients about mindset, the importance of having a positive mindset, right? And that can be very challenging, right? It's very difficult sometimes to have a positive mindset in the face of adversity when we're going through struggle, when we're going through trauma, when we're depressed, when we're anxious. It can be really challenging to have a positive mindset. So it's definitely a process that can take a lot of time. It could take a long time, and it's different for everybody, right? So there's so many techniques and strategies, and one of the aspects of my work that I find so incredibly rewarding when I actually witness a change in mindset. It's super, super powerful.
So, what is is there, and if there is, what is the difference between mindset and perceptions or misperceptions? The context behind that is I've learned how my mindset growing up, or my ideals, that what I thought it meant to be a man were, especially as it relates to trauma or emotions and feelings, and how at different points in my life that helped me, but then that same thought pattern or thinking pattern when I was struggling with PTSD, addiction, trauma, moral injury actually was a huge roadblock. Now, is that mindset or misperceptions, paradigms? Like, is there a difference, or is that mindset?
I mean, definitely overlap. And you're so introspective, Dave. It's so fantastic. I know you've done so much work around yourself and you've been through so, so much. This whole concept of mindset is so, so, in my opinion, important for personal growth. Really just trying to reframe the way you're looking at a problem, be it something you've dealt with in the past or something you're going through, currently, present. It's so important to really think about your mindset and think to yourself, am I maybe viewing this in a negative way? Many people will get into a pattern of negative thinking where they just continually think the worst. They're going to expect that something horrible will come out of the situation. And that's one of the aspects that I find sometimes really challenging in working with my clients, is trying to encourage them not to have that kind of mindset, not to have that negative way of thinking, trying to break that pattern. So many ways that I go about doing that. It could be something as simple as encouraging my client to focus on the positive in just the smallest ways. Waking up in the morning and thinking about, what do I have in my life to be grateful for? Write that down on a sticky note and put that in your mirror and just keep reflecting on that. It could be, working on some mindfulness exercises, some breathing exercises, some strategies to de-stress, because there's so much that we can do to help ourselves, from a, psychological standpoint, to take that stress away, even just a little bit, because that can really hinder a positive mindset. We're continually in a fight or flight stance, continually stressed out, continually anxious. It can really alter our mindset.
Yes, it can. So for me, when I was deployed, when I was in Iraq, my mindset helped me survive. But then when I
That's
came
amazing.
when I came back, that same mindset prevented me from seeking help. It it kept me stuck in the state of survival, which then held me back from thriving,
Oh, no.
which has been so, I'll just say, interesting to reflect on, and how different mindsets can serve a purpose, a very good positive purpose in some settings, but then you need to be able to switch it. But like, I was stuck in that survival mindset, and because I had that lens on, all I saw was, I'll say, messages, things that reinforced that mindset, which just kept it stuck even more so. And it was a big challenge for me. I had to be very intentional to rewire my brain, is what I call it.
Yes. And it's amazing you made that step to do that.
Hmm.
That's
I
fantastic.
forget where I heard about it, but it was like packaged as like the 7-day mental diet. And I was like, what? But essentially the gist of it was for 7 days, whenever I had a negative thought in my mind, I would just acknowledge it, give it a little, okay, I see you, and then dismiss it. And
That's so
did that for 7 days. And it really
that's
helped.
so odd.
It really helped.
I love that. That's so interesting because that's one of the techniques that I always encourage
Mm-hmm.
with my
Mm-hmm.
clients is to really notice their thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So that's so fantastic that that's exactly how you really kind of went about that incredibly difficult time that you've been through. And it's just something that I find to really be helpful is noticing your thoughts. And then what I describe it and is flipping your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So, you take the negative thoughts and you flip them. And kind of a really simple technique that I find that people really actually like is they'll put the negative thought on an index card and then positive thoughts on the other side. So they physically are flipping the index card. They're physically flipping their thoughts from negative to the positive. And like you said, rewiring your brain. It's just so fascinating that we're able to do that.
And yeah, let's just do a brain dump and share different ways to shift them. And like for me, it first started with the awareness. Like I had to notice how I was thinking, which is, side note, it's always fun to tell folks, yeah, I really like thinking about thinking. But what are some ways to build our awareness around our mindset so we can get, oh, raise that flag. Okay, I need to flip it. I need to pivot, or I need to, move towards action. How do we build our awareness around mindset?
Yeah, it's a great question, Dave. I mean, I think there's a lot of strategies. First thing that comes to mind is really being present. So I went through the MBSR training, the mindfulness-based stress reduction training through John Kabat-Zinn. It was an 8-week program. Highly recommend it. And with that training, the focus was on being present, on noticing your thoughts, noticing what's around you, noticing your feelings, your physical feelings. Are you feeling very stressed out? Are you holding a lot of tension? So I think that awareness is super important. Sometimes people aren't even aware of the fact that they have these negative thoughts. They're just kind of piling up. We lead such busy lives now. We're doing a million things. And I think just taking a step back and really thinking, maybe I need some time to myself just to kind of reflect. One of the things that I really enjoy in working with Dr. Bennett at Owls is we work with people on sharing their resilience story. And you may have already done that, Dave. I know you've gone through some of our trainings. And the resilience story is super powerful because what it does is it helps the other person to remember his or her strengths, what we describe as raw coping power. It's that resilience that we all have that so many times in our lives, we don't remember how much resilience we actually have. I think about my own life and the time that I've been through a lot of challenge and I was able to move forward. And I think that really helps me to change my mindset with any struggle that I'm dealing with
Mm-hmm.
now. And I think that helps my clients a lot as well to be reminded of their own resilience.
Two stories came to mind when you were chatting. The first being, I like to say I'm a professional, I'm a trained observer. And I do it half-heartedly and joking, but I notice things. And there's actually a book, I think it's called The Noticer. And it's about that.
Yeah.
It's about raising your awareness, noticing not just like self, but just in your environment. And, I joke like, oh, I was a sniper, so I'm a trained observer, literally.
Oh, yeah, you literally
But
are.
then as a police officer, trained observer to notice everything down to
Yes.
micro expressions. To did their
Yes.
mouth twitch or they shrug just one shoulder instead of both shoulders. And so I'm a trained observer. But then as I started to heal and focus on growth, I tapped into that same strength for myself. as well and
That's
started
amazing.
noticing things. So that's kind of another thing that came to mind. And like I do an activity with folks, I'll sit in a room and say, okay, I just pick a random color in the room. Like, okay, you have 30 seconds. Look around the room and notice, find everything that is red. Find everything that is red. Ready, go. Red, red, red. You put some peer pressure on them. Go, go, go. What do you see? Do you see this? Do you go, go, go? Red, red, red. And then, okay. Now close your eyes. What's something that's blue? And I like really to drive home the fact that you'll see what you're looking for, and that's it. The
Yes.
power of focus. And if you're just focused on the
Yeah,
negative, guess what? You're going to see a whole lot of negative.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. I love that
It's
exercise.
a fun one to
It's
do
so
in person. In Zoom, it's not nearly
that's
as much
awesome.
fun, but we're in the same room with
Yeah, that's
folks.
great though.
But
I love that. I love that. It's so
so
great.
different
So, so
building
great.
awareness, being a trained observer, or I think that book is called The Noticer. I'll have to do a little Googling on that one, and I'll drop the link in the
Okay,
show
yeah.
notes.
Curious to find out
Yeah.
too.
But then the other one too,
That yeah, that's
the other
awesome.
story that came to mind was how I unintentionally yet intentionally stumbled upon post-traumatic growth. And so as you're talking about, resilience to thriving, I remember sitting on my one bedroom couch reading Brene Brown, Braving the Wilderness, and realized I had to brave the wilderness within. Did that, lots of journaling and reflection to
Mhm,
find the real Dave because I drifted so far away from him. But as I was doing
mhm,
that, I was also uncovering my strengths, my resilience story. And I leaned into that. I was like, what are the things that made me, a good high school wrestler and the team captain? What made me a good soldier? What are
wonderful.
all those skills, those things that just came naturally to me? And okay, how can I use those, lean on those to grow,
Mhm.
to heal?
Oh, no question.
Yeah.
No
And
question.
so, like, once I started to unlock that shift towards the positive, both looking for the positive in the world around me and within me, and leaning on my natural strength, like that shift there just unlocked my potential, I feel like. Yeah.
Oh, it's so
Yeah.
great.
What are some of those other
It's
action stories or action steps that you got?
yeah, that's so powerful, Dave. Oh my gosh. I just love that you've grown from the many, many challenges that you have lived in your life. And I know I don't even know all of them, but I know a lot of them, but I
Hmm.
don't know all of them because you're obviously we're all complicated people and you're a complex person and you've had so many challenges in your life. And I think from what I can tell and from what you've, told me, you have grown so much
Hmm.
from these challenges
Hmm.
and so much. And that's how I feel about my challenges as well.
Hmm.
I think about a time I actually almost lost my life. I was, I think, probably 30 seconds away from dying. I'll give you the high
Hmm.
level. I was out on a run about 5 or 6 years ago, and my heart almost stopped. It went to 15 beats a minute. And a neighbor happened to find me, luckily, 'cause if not, I would not be here today. And she called 911. I was rushed to the ER, and it was quite an experience, let's just say. So I feel very fortunate that I lived through that. And I recognize the fact that I was very close to dying. And I was given a pacemaker actually to save my life. And at the time, I was devastated. How could I have a pacemaker, a young, healthy person? And now I really actually see this situation as a gift. I have changed my mindset around the fact that, I went through a very, dangerous, almost life threatening situation. And I now find that a gift because I appreciate life. I appreciate every day. I appreciate every second because I almost lost it,
Hmm.
and because of that situation, I think I've made a lot of changes in my life, to really be more present in my life, to do things in my life that are things that serve me, right? That aren't going to detract from my life in whatever way, be it health, be it, psychologically, whatever it is. I've just changed my entire mindset about life.
What are some of the actions, the things that we can implement today or tomorrow to work on our mindset, whether it be growing awareness, strengthening, nurturing, sustaining? What are some of those action
Yes.
steps?
Yeah. So I would say, I think I mentioned very early on that when I work with clients, either one on one or in groups, I'm working on both physical as well as emotional wellness because I do believe that it is all connected, right? So I am a health and wellness coach, but I'm also a social worker and a counselor. So I'm focusing on both physical as well as emotional wellness. So it's really important, I believe, that people be physically healthy. And what I mean by that is proper sleep, making sure that you're getting enough rest, that you are taking care of your body, that you're eating the right foods to provide, the right nutrients for your body, that you aren't over drinking or using substances that are not healthy. I made the choice to take alcohol out of my life almost 7 years now. And it was a decision that I made basically because as a health coach, I wanted to be as healthy as I could be. And the research I did around what alcohol does to our body did not prove that it was helping me in a physical way.
Mhm.
So I chose to take alcohol out of my life for just 1 month and then just continued 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. And the experience has been life changing. I know you can
Mhm.
relate to that as well.
Mhm.
Yeah. So just, I think trying to take care of your physical as well as your emotional health. And there's so many ways to do that in terms of emotional health. Maybe it means talking to a counselor. Maybe it means meditation. Meditation has changed my life. Trying to spend that time, whatever time it is in the day. Maybe it's first thing in the morning. Maybe it's before bedtime. There's no right answer. It's whatever works for you. But really trying to find time to take care of yourself physically and mentally. It can be really powerful for mindset shifts and really trying to focus on the positive. Now, people will say to me, so are you happy every day? And I always say, no, I'm not. Of course not, right? Like
Mhm.
it's way too complicated. And life is a very intricate up and down kind of experience, right? Positive, negative. We're always going to have challenges in our life. But I think it's knowing how to cope with those challenges and knowing that you can get through them, reflecting on the challenges you've gone through in the past. I always have little quotes around my office. They always change because I love positive
Mhm.
affirmations. And there's an app that I use, it's called Think Up, and you're able to record different positive affirmations and listen to them throughout the day if you wanted to do that. I have a little quote right here that I'm going to change out because I change it every week. But right now it says, if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. And I really believe in that. I really believe that if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. And all those challenges in my life that at the time I didn't really see them as challenges, I now see them as gifts. So that's a really, really powerful experience for me to really understand that the events in my life that were so difficult and that were so challenging actually have shown up as gifts today.
I'm glad you brought up I'll say the not so good days or when those negative thoughts take hold. That's something that I've been experiencing, not necessarily so recently, which I'll get to, how I reset my mindset more recently. But yeah, I focused first on my physical health and mindset, but I really didn't get down to my emotional health. Sobriety, awesome. I sort of hit that 3 year mark, been really focused on personal development, habits, journaling, the ones you hear about a lot, all those good positive habits. But
Yeah.
I hit that 3 year mark and like, well, I still don't, feel joy. And as I learned more and more about brain science and dopamine up and down regulation as it relates to addiction, like that 3 year mark is usually about when folks, their body recalibrates and starts producing the normal healthy amounts of dopamine, but mine just wasn't. I just wasn't feeling it. Listeners probably heard me tell this story a little bit, so I'll somewhat condense it here. But I still focus on mental health, or not mental, I'm sorry, I still focus on physical health. And so I actually
Yeah.
had my biomarkers tested and got them optimized, and they weren't quite where they were supposed to be. Actually, turns out because of my traumatic brain injury and how that affects your
Mm,
body's ability to produce, to work with, and use dopamine, the dopamine, norepinephrine, and epinephrine. And so I needed a little extra help in that area physically. Awesome. Got that optimized where it should be. Still not quite
that's great that
finding
you looked at that. Yeah,
the science is there. It's just folks don't know about it. And that's a whole nother episode we could talk about there, a little rant. But
definitely.
physical,
But great that you did
yeah,
that. It's
gotta
fantastic.
trying to be the best me possible. But I still hadn't
Fantastic.
found joy or peace. So then I worked
Mm,
with a coach, Jen Schneeman, who is my nervous system coach, and really helped me learn to regulate, brought me the tools to regulate and manage my nervous system to help bring me out of that stuck in survival mode and back into
mm,
my window of tolerance and what to
mm,
do when I swing one way or the other to the extremes. Awesome. So that gave me the confidence to be able to navigate the adversities that life throws my way. But then I
fantastic.
still had to tackle my emotional. And when I got into
Mm,
it, so I went through the VA's trauma recovery program because I'd never dealt with my trauma, my emotions. As
okay.
I was doing that, going through, and it's a long program,
Oh, I can
I
imagine.
felt this dark cloud hanging over me. And I was going through just a funk, we'll call it. I still had all the tools, I had the physical health, but it was just bah humbug. And so,
Mm-hmm. Couldn't get out of it.
yeah, I
Could.
just couldn't get out of it. And I was doing the work. I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. And so what helped me shift out of that was moving from a gratitude journal or focusing on gratitude to a
Mm-hmm.
joy journal. And that what I'd been
Mm,
searching for my adult life is peace and joy. And so the lifestyle habits, routines, all of that I had built and nurtured over the years helped me find peace. Building my nervous system toolbox helped me find peace because I knew I had the tools to navigate and get back to peace if
mm-hmm.
I got thrown off. But that joy piece was what was still missing, and that was so connected
Mm.
to my emotional health. But
Oh,
yeah, so there's just a rambling story. I don't know
wow.
if I had a question in there, but
Oh, I'm so glad you shared that. That's so powerful. I love the joy journal versus the gratitude journal. I love that. I love that.
I just made it up
It's so-
in that.
I love it.
And so I'd love your take on it because I've had a fun chat with a
Oh,
couple different folks on the difference between gratitude and joy.
oh my gosh, that's a whole nother
Like,
episode.
are they different?
That's
Are
a
they
whole nother episode.
connected?
Dave.
And right, I know. Like
I love that.
for me, I was going through the motions with gratitude, and it felt forced and not
Mhm.
authentic. But I know folks say
Yes.
gratitude is the key to happiness, but
Yes.
it it didn't quite get me to that joy piece. And so as we were talking awareness, all they've been doing
Uh,
is mindset, look for the joy,
yeah,
notice the
I
joy.
love that. I love that.
But-
So yeah, as you're talking, I'm thinking about a couple
Mhm.
things. So one of the things that we do at Owls is we have a training called You Matter. And it's all about taking care of yourself. I mean, it's a really basic premise, right? Take care of yourself. If you're taking care of others, you have to take care of yourself
Mhm.
because it's hard to take care of other people if you're not taking care of yourself. And so many people will say to me, I don't take care of myself, and I'm really not doing much that makes me happy,
Mhm.
right? That brings me joy.
Mhm.
They'll say, I'll say to them, and I'll say this to my client, so what's fun? What's going to be fun for you this week? What are you doing? And sometimes I'll hear silence at the end of the line. It'll just be quiet. I'm not sure, you know. Well, let's think about something fun that you can do. It could be the
Mhm.
smallest thing. Maybe it means, just stopping over for lunch at that place you've wanted to go to, or
hmm
going out for ice cream, or going to see that friend you haven't seen in a couple of months. Just something to bring you what you're describing, that joy.
hmm
That so many times I think in our life, we don't think about the importance of joy and how to bring us happiness. I mean, we're so busy in our lives, right? We're so busy taking care of children, taking care of parents in some situation, working. Many of us are working around the clock. That's another thing I do. I do presentations on work-life balance because Americans are overworked, and we're stressed out, and so many people just don't focus on what you, it seems, have learned was lacking in your life. It's that
hmm
feeling of joy, which I think you're maybe equating also, would you say, with happiness? When you say joy, would you say it's also happiness?
I view them as separate. And
Okay, what can you say about that?
yes, so I see happiness more, I'll say surface level, on the lower end of the scale. So I could feel like happiness or pleasure, but it was very situation based, more
Okay.
external things. The way I view and feel joy is more that inward projecting outward. Like I don't know how else to really describe it other than, I sit down and watch a show. Great. Oh, I'm happy. Or, I'm doing something I enjoy doing. Oh, that made me happy. But joy, the way I see it, is I can be sitting on the couch and watching my wife and daughter play in the living room and feel joy inward and outward. So it's more of a
Yeah.
from the inside out rather than happiness, in my perspective, is from the outside in.
Yes, that's a great way to differentiate the two, joy from happiness. So, so interesting. And because you are so self aware and you are always very introspective, I'm sure that's exciting for you to say to yourself, wow, you know what? I'm actually experiencing joy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
So
when
great.
you're talking about working, with clients and asking, what are you gonna do that's fun this week? I wonder too, and this is just from my own experience, once they start with that mindset shift, and you talked about presence, as individuals become more present in the moment, I think they might find joy or fun or happiness in those things they're already doing.
Yes. Oh, no question that maybe they didn't even realize or notice or pick up on.
Mm-hmm. Like, I find
So
I find myself actually this morning, my body was present during family breakfast, but my mind was thinking through my tech setup for an event that I'm doing next week. Oh, should I run this wire this way? Do I need to order another cable? Will that work for the audio input? Now, like, that's where my head was. So I wasn't present, but
Mm.
I was physically there. But then as soon as
Right.
I shifted my mindset and was present, I enjoyed it. And it filled my cup intentionally
Right.
before starting my workday.
Which is so fantastic. And it's so easy for all of us to do that, right? To not be thinking about the task at hand
Mm-hmm.
or whatever's going on in that meeting or the person across from us at the table. It's so easy for us to
Mm-hmm.
just think of other things. But, as the mind is like a muscle, right? The more you can really try and focus it and try and train it to go in the direction that you want it to go, it can be really powerful. And I think that's one thing that meditation does for us is it helps us with our mind and it
Mm-hmm.
helps with mindset as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, before we close out, let's come up with what's one thing, like what would be that sort of that first step for a mindset reset that you would suggest our audience take within the next 7 days. Audience members, you have
Yeah.
7 days to implement. Here's your task.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Pressure's on. No. um, and I mean, I want to start by just saying that a lot of people I don't think realize that mindset is something that can be changed. Because some people will say to me, "Oh, you know what? I just kind of have a negative mindset. I'm a pessimist. I can't help it, right?" Like I tend to be negative, and I think it's important for people to realize that they are actually able to change their mindset and to become more of a positive person. I know for me, it has been the situation where when I was younger, I think I was more of a negative person. I tended to look, more on the dark side. I would think negatively. And I decided that this is not the way I wanted to live. And I made a conscious effort to change my mind and make it more of a positive stance. And believe me, it's a work in progress. It takes a lot of work. It's not an easy shift. It's something that I've had to work on over the years. And that's why I help other people
Mhm.
to go through what I went through with changing your mindset to the positive. I think, like we talked about, really trying to notice your thoughts and being aware of your thoughts, and also really noticing the fact that when you think more positively, you will feel better. Recognizing the fact that, if you, just kind of go throughout your day and just think, oh, everything's a bummer, this is going to go badly and everything else, you really won't be feeling as happy and joyful as you might if you take a more positive stance and proactively try to think in a more positive mindset.
Mhm.
So I think it's recognizing that mindsets can change, that you do have the ability to change your mindset, and that it takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. This is not an easy fix by any stretch of the imagination. We all have so many challenges in our life and we'll always have
Mhm.
challenge. It's just a matter of understanding how you can deal with them and also reflecting on all of those challenges you've been through in your life.
Absolutely. And I will not add any stories on top of that wisdom right there. So where can folks get connected with you, with some of the resources that you shared? You know, what can we send them home with?
Yeah, you can always jump on my website, cynthiawellness.com, or send me an email. Feel free to email me at info@cynthiawellness.com. And I just want to thank you, Dave, for having me today. I love your podcast. Every episode brings new topics, and I've loved getting to know you over the years. So I just want to thank you again for having me today.
Absolutely. Together is better. And I still long for the day we can sit down and have a cup of coffee or tea in person and have a
I
conversation
do as
about
well.
thinking.
I love that. I do as well. If you're ever in the Boston area, please look me up.
Side note, Prevention Innovators Cruise is sailing out of Boston, April 2026,
Oh,
a prevention conference that happens to be on a cruise ship. So,
wow. Sign me
all
up.
right, I'll send you the link. Listeners, check the show notes as well. There's limited number of slots for the Prevention Innovators Cruise. It is legit a prevention conference that just so
Oh,
happens to
wow.
take place on a cruise ship. Why
Oh,
can't
wow.
prevention
Sounds
conferences be
great.
fun, right? Yeah.
Sounds
Yeah,
fantastic.
oh, there's an unintended promo, but hey, you said Boston. I'll be in your
Hey,
neighborhood. April. Awesome. Well, thank
awesome.
you for taking time to connect and share your story and your wisdom with us, and to be continued. To be continued. But I hope you have a marvelous
Sure.
day, a marvelous week, and may the sun keep shining down where you're at.
Oh, thank you so much, Dave. Same to you. It's been a pleasure, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to the Prevention Leaders Podcast with Dave Clausen. Since prevention is better together, make sure you click the subscribe button and share this and other episodes with a friend. If you have a topic idea or guest suggestion, follow us on social media or email us at info@preventionleaders.com.